I'm going to always keep a running copy, and I never touch my background layer. Alright, so what next here? Everything's kind of flat over here on the left, so let's kind of jazz that side up a little bit. So that's going to be a pretty easy fix here. I'm going to, again, kind of the same trick. I'm going to turn off this middle layer. I'm going to change this background just to worry about these rocks, okay? I'm not going to worry about anything else, okay? I'm going to kind of bring these rocks alive. Now, everything else is kind of going to crap here, but these rocks are still looking good, all right? So there we go. Now, I turn back on the top layer, and you guessed it, I'm making a mask, and I'm going to paint in black so just these rocks show through, all right? So I'm bringing my rocks alive by painting in a mask here. So bear with me, and I'm trying to go a little faster than I normally do just to kind of make for a less than 9-hour video. I'm kidding. But now I'm breaking a lot of rules here. I'm working too small, so I'll often hit Option and then roll my mouse and then work bigger. So it's and you can always change these settings here if you want more flow and more opacity with what you're doing. See, that's kind of that was a little harsh there. Now here's a point. Anytime you make a mistake, you can hit Command Z and you can go back and fix it. So not a problem. Alrighty, so here we go. Painting the rocks. And all I'm doing is I'm actually, what I'm thinking about right now is I'm just following the light areas of the rock to get kind of a glow. And I like conflicting light sources. It doesn't exist in nature. It confuses the eye, but I think it also pleases the eye. If things don't look quite right, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. But in nature, you've got one light source, and that's the sun. But if you can make things a little lighter in places they aren't normally lighter, it's kind of like eye candy, and it kind of stimulates the brain. People are like, hey, something about that shot I like. But anyway, okay. So there's the rocks, done a little better there. Let me check out my exposure here, and I can again tweak my exposure of the rock. See, that's a little too vivid. Looks like something you'd see in a piece of truck stop art. But okay, there we go. So I'm gonna leave that like that, and close down that layer. Now I've still got my mask going here, so I'm gonna go back to this. I'm gonna boost my contrast a little bit. Make my rocks a little more contrasty, and maybe just make them a little bit brighter. Okay. All right. Command E closes that down. Command E brings those two together. Again, I make a copy just for a backup. All righty. What next? This water right here. Something has to happen to this water. So let's do this. I'm going to get kind of. I'm going to break from tradition. I'm going to go into my Dodge tool and just lighten up a little bit of blue water here because I want it to kind of show through. So let's do this, and it's going to make the water a little more impressive to the viewer right here. Let me just make my brush a little bigger and make sure it's not too hard. Okay. So this will give that kind of Wayland look to the water. I don't know if you know the artist Wayland, but he likes to do these really kind of wild colors. I've got a little too much there. All right. I'm just painting this in here. Like I said, you can always go back and change things if they don't come out looking right. That's the cool thing about working with masks. And I've copied this base layer, so if I completely screw up, I've got a copy right over here, so I can throw this layer away right down that little trash can. Okay, I had to pause that for a second. I had a coughing fit. Alrighty, let's take a look at this and see where we're going. Alright, so it's looking okay. It's got a ways to go. What next? Well, let me do a couple more little zaps here. Again, you don't want to overdo this stuff because this picture is pretty overdone already. I mean, so I'm just, you can see those little white lines I'm drawing in, and it's just, I'm trying to give the water a little, some more spectrals, I guess is the best way to put it, just some highlights, okay? So there we are. Ocean's looking pretty good. Let me go to the burn tool, which I don't use these very much. You got to kind of watch what you're doing because these little guys can get away from you pretty quickly. They're better in CS4 than they were in CS3. In CS3, they used to cause a, now see Command Z, I screwed up there, and I didn't like that. In excuse me, in the CS3, they really changed the color quite a bit. So okay, that's looking good. I'm gonna combine those two and make another copy. So this copy is just like the copy under it. Now, again, we haven't touched the base layer yet, and we never will. Still got my sky independent. If I want to play with my sky, I'm going to make a copy of my sky because if I do something up here that's a total wash, I can get rid of it. So let me put a little dark in a couple of things here, a little more drama in a couple of areas. And okay, now let's go back to my dodge tool, and I'm about 14%. That's probably not enough. We'll see. And I'm going to give these clouds a little bit of a halo, little Rembrandt light on them. And what's interesting about photo retouching is that I will see everything I did to this for about 5 minutes, and then when I come back to it, I won't see it. And by that I mean the things that I've retouched. The eye is very forgiving. It wants to be, it wants to see what it wants to see, and so I don't know.